breathing plan are kind of really a combined effort of both of us. I'm with my Buteyko knowledge, and Amit really put all his organization and integrative and analytic skills into it. So he's really the brain, and he's also your support, and he provides, I think, almost 24-hour support. And any time of the day that you call him, he will reply. So we really try to help you to use it. So
you don't have to test it.
yes, don't call late at night. But one more word to say before I start is that I'm the least technical person because I have the expert in my house. So if you feel intimidated by that, it's really simple, and it took me no time to get used to using it. It's all very friendly. So yeah, and so it's really easy, but we are available to help you at any point. Feel free to email us or call us for questions.
Now, I put everybody on mute. If you want to speak, you just click on the microphone and unmute yourself and speak, okay?
All right, yeah, they're all muted.
They're all muted, yeah.
So they cannot say, okay. Okay, so I'm going to follow the agenda on your handout, except that you're going only to see the breathing log screen. And, okay, so, what? Okay.
This way and see.
So you know what, yeah, so I don't feel very lonely. You are unmuted, actually, and as long as it doesn't make too much noise, then we'll keep it this way. So you are all unmuted, unless you...
That's great.
Okay. Okay. So the program from the evening is, I will review the way I teach the Buteyko program because it's a little different than everyone else. And we really designed these tools to support this way that I'm teaching. So I have to clarify that. And then I just show you how to support the evaluation using the tools and how it supports the basic course and the children program and all the follow-up sessions and the rest. And then at the end, if you have questions, we're happy to answer that. So the way my program is that, you know, my habit as a speech pathologist is always to have an evaluation session before I recommend any therapy. So I do have an evaluation session. I have a capnometer that I don't always use, so it's not a requirement. And then after that, if I recommend someone to join the group course or individual session, then I have the 5 days basic course that I teach in two different ways. One is in the hospital, I teach once a week on Fridays, and at my house I teach Saturday, Sunday, Saturday, Sunday, Saturday. So kind of two and a half consecutive weekends. And then after the 5 days course, I do provide a lot longer follow-up than usual. So it's not the regular format of refresher courses, but I do really kind of meet with people either online or even on email. Yeah, so it's really it's a 3-month program, and people pay for that. I sell it like this. So you can see it here actually in your handout. You have this kind of program schedule graph, and you can see how the hold on, you will see it in a second. Here.
Yes. Yeah, that's good.
Hold on. So here you can basically see that the 5 days course is really only the beginning, and all the work, the majority of the work is done after the course, and people just get a lot more guidance and support for a longer time. So, and this is why I really felt like I need better tools to manage all their data that they put in, and the books are, you know, you cannot really, I couldn't follow up with that. So you can go back to, oh, all right. Yeah, okay, so for the initial evaluation, what I do is before I see them, I send them an email and asking them to create an account for Breathing Log. And then once they come here, then I actually ask them to fill out the hyperventilation questionnaire with me here. And the reason for that is that I found that they don't do a good job when they fill it out at home and they're in a rush and sometimes they will put 1 or 2 symptoms and that's it. So I really take your time and I actually attended Tess Graham's webinar for the past few weekends, so I'm a little influenced by her too. So she said that this is, and I actually was doing it too. This is the time that you look at the client and you can do respiratory count, and especially if they are breathing loudly, it makes it even easier, and you can really see what they're doing before they even heard anything that you said. And if they still check only 1 or 2 symptoms, like many guys do, then I go over the list of symptoms and ask them specifically about certain things and use maybe different wording. So let me show you how that looks in breathing log. So this is the dashboard. So for the evaluations, I go to the evaluation tab, and I go to new evaluation when I want them to fill out something, and then I have a drop-down menu. So I have 2 things here. So we go to the hyperventilation questionnaire, and this is what Jennifer Stark and Russell call the CDS test, like the carbon dioxide syndrome test. So it's their list of symptoms. And so they have all the symptoms here, and they can choose any severity from 0 to 4. If they don't put anything, it remains 0. So you see all the list of things, and then they have to click save at the end. Okay. Yeah, and then and this is really the baseline, and I ask them to fill it out during the course and after the course. Okay, so that's the evaluation. Always when I want to go back to the dashboard, you can just click on the button there. So that's for the evaluation. And let's keep going. So during the basic course, So during the basic course, you know, the first day of the course is so overwhelming and packed with information, and I'm really careful not to overwhelm them. So the only thing I show them is how to log in the breathing set that I teach, and that's it. And then, hold on, that is noisy here. So I think we'll mute everyone just because it's noisy. And on day 2, I show them how to log symptoms. I really want them to log symptoms as early as possible before the symptoms go away. So this is why. And I also explain the symptoms progress graph. I'll show that later. And the other thing I teach them on day 2 of the course is how to log the morning set. I will show all these in a minute. Day 3 and 4, I don't teach anything new. I just keep showing them again and again how simple that is, because I really want them to use it. And on day 5, I add the physical exercise, how to log that in, and explain what dedicated versus other means. So let me show you. So I go to the breathing tab. So that's day 1. So I show them how simple that is. So go to new breathing record. And then you have a list of single activities here, which I don't teach them today. And then activity sets. So the adult set 1 is the way I was taught by Jennifer Stark. So I click adult set 1. This is timer. And if you use a desk computer, then it remains on the screen even when I scroll down. If you use an iPhone or any phone, then it will stay at the top of the screen. And so I always recommend to them to start with a big computer so they can see the whole picture, and only then, even though it does look nice on the phone like an app, I still think it's a lot easier to start on the computer. Notice that we have all, for all the whole program, we have generic times, hours, minutes, seconds. So of course you only use what's relevant. So as we do the set during day one, I just show them how to log it in. And always, you know, my clients have a choice. If someone is really computer illiterate, then I still have my books and they can record their stuff in the tracking sheet. But I tell them if they can do email, then that's the level, the computer level that is required. So for the pause, I always take it in 15 seconds. So I go to 15 seconds. Number of beats, let's say it was 15. And that's it. So, you know, I could use the timer here for that. And I don't do the math. That's another nice thing. It will compute it for you. So make sure that they don't do the math. They really just leave it like this. And then control pause. Let's say it's the first day of the course. Let's say it was 13. And then we do, on the first day of the course, I don't do 5 minutes of reduced breathing, or relaxed breathing. So let's do 3 minutes. And then control pause again. Let's say it went a little higher to 15. And then reduced breathing, we did again for 3 minutes. And then they rest for 1 or 2 minutes. And then final control pause, let's say it went to 15. Final pause, again, we take it in 15 seconds. Number of beats, let's say it went down to 14. And that's it. And then I have to click save, because otherwise I lost everything. So then here I see kind of, that's a kind of a report, and that's a little too early, but that's kind of there. Yeah, that's a meet record, and you will see it later. Okay, let me get back to, actually, what did I want to show them next? Let me go back here. Morning set, hold on. So now day 2 of the course. Again, I go to new breathing record, and I want to show them. One was how to remember how to log symptoms, but let me show you morning set first. So morning set is not really a set, it's just a set of measurements. I tell them as soon as you open your eyes, you don't even, if you have your phone next to you, which is not recommended, or if they have any measurement device next to their bed, they can even stay lying down and take the pulse. Again, so you remember that you don't do the math. You just put 15 seconds and number of beats. Let's say it was 14. What? Yeah, and then I tell them you can sit up in your bed, calm down the breathing, and then you do your first control pause of the day. Let's say it was 13. And then it asks them, did they sleep with tape? They just check. And it also asks for night sleep time. So let's say it was 7 hours, and save. So it takes them literally only less than 1 minute to do all that, but it gives you a lot of information. So you see morning set here, and also, so that's our report, but let me get back here to the symptoms. So then I really want them to log in symptoms, because then I can start seeing correlations very early between their progress with the breathing and hopefully the reduction in symptoms. And they can start to see improvement, of course, yeah. So new symptom record. So let's say they woke up coughing at night. So I choose coughing here. So you have a drop down if tons of symptoms, and if they don't find their symptoms here, they can use other here and write it down here. And let's say they were coughing, hopefully not more than 5 minutes. Some people do cough for longer than that. And how severe? So it just kind of they rate it from 1 to 10. Let's say it was pretty bad, it was 8. And then actually on day 2, I already tell them what to do about that, so they can put mini pauses. So if they did any breathing activity for the symptoms, they put mini pause. If they have asthma, let's say they also, hopefully they didn't, but maybe they also use their albuterol. They can put any notes they want here. Some people really write their life here. And then just submit. So that's how they can see. So they were coughing at 8:55 p.m. for 5 minutes. Severity was 8. Da, da, da. Okay. So that was day 2 of the course. Yeah. Okay. Let me go back to the dashboard. So day 3 and 4, I don't teach them anything. And on day 5, I show them how to record physical exercise. So again, go to the exercise tab, new exercise record, and they have again drop down of all sort of activities. Let's say they did spinning for an hour. Any comment, anything, and it's that. See, submit. That's it. It takes you. So really, no excuses not to record everything. If they once they get in the habit of using their phone for that, it takes them literally 20 seconds. So it's very simple. So that's the physical exercise. And then I also explain about today's recommendations. I will talk about that later to you because this is kind of really only our recommendation guidelines, and you're more than welcome to adjust it to your clients. You don't have to use it, but so I will talk about that later. Any questions so far? So you are muted. So if you do have a question, you can unmute yourself.
Hi, Hadass.
Yeah.
I wanted to know why there was no rest time between the reduced breathing sets, and will your clients do all this data collecting?
So there is rest. I don't know, the way the Jennifer Stark sets, like there is only one official rest before the final reduced breathing, before the final control pause, and after the middle reduced breathing or the first reduced breathing, there is no kind of rest in the tracking sheet. But if you remember, always the control pause starts with 1 minute of normal breathing. So I always emphasize it, and maybe we should add some like a really formal rest there, because I always do emphasize that they always breathe normally for at least 1 minute before they measure the control pause. So that's your first question?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did I answer it?
Yes, you did.
Yeah.
It's just that everybody sort of teaches a little different, and so I'm
yeah.
Is there any need to do this? If there's no need to do it, I'd rather not do it.
No. But it is important that you breathe normally before you take your control pause, right? So yeah, I do emphasize that they always take the control pause only after their breathing is normal and they don't have any hunger for air.
Okay.
And for the second question,
will your clients do all of
this?
Yeah.
Oh, so no, not everyone does everything. So it really depends. Some people love it and get very obsessive about recording data and filling out more information than I really want them to. And some people will do very minimal stuff, but even if they only do the morning set, it gives me some information that I can see what they do. And I will talk about that later. If they get stuck, this is where I do ask them to log more. But so it's not for everyone, but everyone puts something that will give me some information where they are, or at least I try to have everyone do that.
Okay, great, thanks.
You want to tell about the dedicated?
Should I do it now? Yeah, all right. So if you're already there, let's talk about that. So I will go back to today's requirements. So this is an algorithm that we took from our tour, and it's based on the age of the person and the morning CP. So if it doesn't show any requirement for the day, it means that either the person didn't put their age when they created their account, or they didn't do the morning CP this morning. So if you remember, of course, based on the control pause, it tells you how much you can exercise. So the better you get, or at first when you're not that good, or when your asthma, for example, is severe, then you're expected to do only reduced breathing, only Buteyko, and do not even exercise when the CP is below 10. So that's what it will show here.
I can show. So if we look it's only relevant for today's morning control pose. So if we look at today's.
Yeah, so since this is a mixed data, so you will see you will understand his recommendations now better.
So I look at, if I change the morning set for July 2nd. You can always, by the way, if you log something incorrectly, you can go back and change it. It's not a problem. So.
Oh, I already did put for you 13 seconds, but that was not your real one.
Huh? You did?
Yeah.
I have 2.
Yeah. So if it's 13, it should show like you cannot
yeah,
exercise today. But it took the first one that you did today.
Okay. Take the other one. So that's the first.
Yeah, that's his real one.
I can delete this one.
So yeah, you can show your clients that they can delete whatever they don't want you to see.
Yeah. No problem. So if I go here and so this was my morning CT, but if, for example...
So you could see in the requirement that he didn't have to do any reduced breathing today. He was only supposed to do physical activity. But if his control pause will be, do it less than 10.
Yeah, so this is the breathing plan.
No, don't go there yet. It's confusing.
No, but I show them what you see. Because you see that.
No, I mean, you're confusing them now.
No,
we're not in breathing plan yet.
See here.
Okay.
So here you see for 43, you need very little reduced breathing and mostly exercise. Now, if I change it to...
Put 10.
To 9 seconds. Then
yeah, then you see that the recommendation has changed. So he's supposed to practice 90 minutes of reduced breathing and 0 physical exercise because he's so bad.
Yeah.
So there are so many exceptions to this algorithm that you can really use your judgment. If someone, and another question that kind of we were looking for feedback from practitioners, from educators. Hold on, where is it? That's reading log. Yeah, so let's go here, back here. So kind of dedicated exercises when you really kind of you go to the gym or do something, more vigorous and intense. And other exercises, even doing the, errands around the house or shopping or walking the dog. And these numbers are going, when you go by our tour, are get very, very high, like 1 to 3 hours a day or so. So some people really freak out by that. So again, you can really tell your clients that this is a recommendation. But I do remind people that Dr. Buteyko said that we are supposed to stand 9 hours a day and be a lot more active. So I don't think that's exaggerated. And I wish I could do that, like myself. My body does crave to do so as much exercise as it's recommending. But so that's really open for your own clinical judgment. Okay, next. So supporting children, that's the next slide. It's basically the same guidelines as for adults. And I do focus more on showing them how symptoms improve, and more importantly, showing their parents how symptoms improve. I think that's a big part of Buteyko, and Tess Graham also talked about that. We keep giving them, or she does. I will adopt that. She has this symptoms tracking list, and they fill it out for her after the first consultation that she does. Or before the first consultation, and then 3 days later, before even the course starts, and then on day 3 of the course, and then on day 5 of the course. So it's really about showing people how much they improve, because I find that people really very quickly forget how bad they were, and the symptoms go away very quickly. So it's really, and it helps them to persevere longer if they see how much they improved. So it's important to show them how they improve. And So what else? So yeah, so I do ask the parents to fill out the symptoms. So let me show you the kids set. And another thing that I do with kids and with adults, we have this new messaging system that I will show you too. So for the kids, you go to new breathing record and child set. You know what, I forgot to show you. Let me go back a little bit. For the adults, during the course, actually in day I forgot to put that in my presentation, but that's what I really do. On day 3 and 4, I start talking about, okay, because most people really, you know, when reality check, I get my reality check that people don't have the time to do the 4 sets as recommended. Then I kind of, especially day 4, I tell them, okay, we need to fit Buteyko into our life, and that's when I tell them, okay, you can just do reduced breathing for 20 minutes when you are driving, or you can just do mini pauses for 10 minutes when you feel anxious, or you can just do the steps whenever you walk the dog. So if they just did reduced breathing for 20 minutes while driving the car, that's all it takes to log it in. 20 minutes, submit. As simple as that, less than a second. So they could just choose these single activities. Let me go back now to the child set. Frolov is here too. If they do Frolov for 30 minutes before, like in front of the TV at night, they can just put 30 minutes here, submit, that's it. Okay, so it's really, you see how simple that is. Now I go back to the children's set. So this is, again, it's the way the Starks teach. And it's kind of, it's a little confusing set, like you have pause, and then steps, reduced breathing steps, and then steps, reduced breathing steps, like 3 times. So it's a pretty long one, but it's basically, it's exactly the same as the tracking sheet in the book. And
they don't have to fill the time.
Oh yeah. So the steps, they should only put the number of steps. So if they did 40 steps, just put 40 steps. You don't have to put any time for this one. Okay, so that's, and then you just click save, and that's it. Okay, so this is children. Oh, and let me show you the messages. I need to go to breathing plan, right? Or can I?
First of all, you see it here.
Yeah. So this is, we are still in breathing log. That's the software that the clients have. So the newest functionality that we added is that we can communicate with the clients through the app, and you don't have to go to your email. So that's really, it makes it a lot more convenient. So especially with kids, I use it. Like if I see, for example, I had a child that was really stuck. He's a little one, kind of. He's a 5 years old that looks like 4. The sweetest boy, and he just gets stuck on 40 forever. And then this week suddenly I see 80 and 90, and then immediately I send them a very excited message. Or I had another boy from Chicago, and they had the final in hockey against the Bruins. So we went back and forth. He was too upset when the Bruins won, and then he didn't practice his set. And then after they won the whole series, and I said, okay, now you really have to practice 2 sets, all sort of kind of trying to make it a little funner for them, and then be positive, sending them positive stuff. But so this is, you see kind of an example for faked messaging between me and Amit.
Yeah, so just one word about this. So you can see who sent what, and here you can see the number of unread messages. So if you you can see the mark as read. If you want to read it, you just say, okay, I read this one. It will go to the message.
Yeah, so you see there is one less message there.
Yeah, and right. And the educator, once Adas will go to the educator application, then it's the same thing, but you see only the ones that the clients feel. So, but it's the same idea.
Okay, let's go back to the presentation. So that's what I had to say about children. There is so much more potential to add fun stuff, but we're not there yet. We'll get there. But we are definitely open to more ideas from you. especially those of you who work with kids and have kind of ideas how to add more motivate stuff. Do you have any questions so far? I unmuted you.
No.
Okay.
Nope. I think it's fantastic.
Great, thank you. It really kind of evolved over time, kind of between like my work and me kind of trying to solve problems for me. And then also recently, several educators already use it and gave us great suggestions. So we really welcome your feedback. Okay, so now I start talking about the online follow-up session. So after the day the course is over. So first of all, so just kind of to justify why I think it's important, because I know most people don't do it. And remember, I told you, I think it's a great business model to keep your clients for a long time. And it's really win-win, because it's not, I don't do it for the money. I really feel like they really need me for a lot longer than 5 sessions. And I think you heard, most of you heard me on the BBA when I used to teach Buteyko like the way Jennifer taught me. And then I said, okay, but I have 2 kinds of clients. I have my voice clients and I have my Buteyko clients. And then I say, okay, for my voice patients, I don't just teach them all the principles about voice production, teach them the exercises and send them home and tell them, okay, now practice on your own. So I said, why do I treat my respiratory patients any differently? I just, with voice, the way it works is that I do meet them hopefully every week. And then whenever they feel ready to go, like they have the tools and they got it and they can be on their own and I feel like they're ready, this is when I discharge them. So I really, now I'm more consistent with myself and I'm more comfortable with that model. So many clients find a structured program to be very helpful. I think that this really helps to keep them organized and it's very structured. And many of them also report that breathing log helps keeping them engaged and learn about themselves. Some people really like to look at all these. I didn't show you the progress graphs, but do you really get to see interesting correlations? For example, I don't know whether you're, yeah, I will get there. Okay, like maybe, yeah, but like sometimes you can see that your CP is always lower on the weekend, or you can, if you do it for long enough, just the morning CP, like yearly, you can see better like seasons for you or how different activities are affecting you. And it just, you get to see these data in the booklet, but it's a lot more difficult and it's really impossible to see it long term. And here, you just press a button and you get to see a lot more. We'll show you that. So it is, I do have to say that I use it for the past year. And it is my experience that those who are using it, like I told you, not everyone is using it, but those who do, they are more likely to persevere and reach the target control pause than those who don't. And this is because they get the much longer guidance and support. And more about why it's important is that once the basic course is completed, your client has learned the tools, but the journey has just begun. So all these first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bullets take time. It takes time to change the breathing pattern and all that. So I'm there for them as they go through the process. And the repetition of course information, I was really surprised. You would think that when you give them all this information in the 5-day course, they got it. But you will be surprised when people misunderstand it, and it's so much. I think you agree with me that every day is packed with so much information that they either didn't get it or they lost, they spaced out and they missed something and they get things wrong. So here I have an opportunity to really review stuff that I think they got and really correct what they got wrong. So I think this is huge. And also during the basic course, I at least really emphasize more kind of the aspect of relaxed breathing, because people are not ready for strong hunger for air, and I just make sure that they are very comfortable with the exercises. But as they get, the more they do it and the more it gets natural to them, then they're really ready actually and will progress a lot faster if I can teach them exercises with stronger hunger for air and more steps exercises, things that I don't do in the 5-day course. So that's another good reason. And the last one is help with physical exercise, because now they can do more during the 5-day course. Sometimes they cannot even exercise. And the one on medications, you know, we all make the recommendation on day 5 how to reduce medications, when to go back to the doctor, and how to do that. So I just took it out from my course. I don't talk about that unless the client is there. So when it's relevant to them, that's when I talk about that. So that cut me some precious time, gave me some precious time during the course for other things. So let me show you how I use it before. Hold on. Should I talk about that first? Or so basically, so what do I do in a follow-up session? So again, it could be most of the time I do online or even email. So yeah, using the tool, of course. So first of all, you know, I build a plan for the next week and set goals with the client, like what they think, how they think they can execute these 90 minutes of reduced breathing and physical exercise and all that. And then
so just they can put goals in there here, and
so you have breathing goal, and you have just general or exercise goal and food management goal.
yeah.
So breathing goal could be increase my CP in 2 or 3 seconds this week, or I don't know, eliminate throat clearing, or I don't know.
Yeah, and it could, they can even say it should be a daily something, and they can specify for which week.
And people like it. So, okay. So where am I?
Hadass?
Yeah?
Do people ever decide halfway through that they just can't deal with this and they just drop out?
Yeah, yes. And again, I never, you know, Buteyko I think is enough work, so I never put pressure on them to continue. Sometimes just naturally, you know, as they get better, then they use it less and less because they don't have to. Kind of, so there is kind of natural fading using it, and that's okay with me. But especially the sicker people that I do need, kind of, I do give them very kind of close weekly follow-up, and then they continue to record more diligently.
When the people drop out, do they ever tell you why they've dropped out?
Oh, you mean, I thought I just disappear from it. So you know what, the tool really helps me to keep them without, like, so they don't disappear. Okay. Or this 3 months program, you know, they pay for a 3 months program, so,
I see.
but sometimes we do stop earlier if they are ready to finish earlier. We just kind of naturally just fade. But, you know, I used to walk always kind of feeling like if someone disappeared, I felt like I failed. And then kind of recently, it happened to me a few times that I met people that I taught in the past. And, you know, I always assumed that if they disappeared, it means that they're not doing the work, but they were actually telling me how life-changing it was for them. So some people just, you know, they need to do it on their own, and they do it. You don't have to assume that they just disappear because they quit.
Okay.
That's what the new discovery.
I've got a question.
Mm-hmm.
So it sounds like with this tool, you're able to, in the group class, even on day 1 or 2, individualize a plan. So you're telling someone, you just do relaxed breathing, and you know that you're going to progress them up. Is that what you meant about kind of increasing the goals or the program, or re-educating them, and, you know, privately later, you know, in the private sessions?
Yeah, I mostly use that during the follow-up sessions, but definitely I do always individualize it during the course too, yes.
So how do you know what you need to re-educate them about, you know, after the course based on what's going on with breathing log? You just see that they're not using a section, or they haven't done any mini pauses even though they said they had a cold? Is that kind of how you figure it out? You just get good at using the tool, seeing what they're doing and not doing?
So let me show.
Very good question, because it brings us to the next.
Yeah, I'll show you in a second. Yeah, you know, so after the reason why we came up with breathing plan was that I couldn't see comfortably, like there was no convenient way to see really what they're doing. So basically we see how, you know, I also got tired of people coming back and telling me excuses why they couldn't practice this week and how they had a cold or they were too busy. So this really cuts this story short. Like they tell me, okay, like we see if they were able to follow the plan, and if not, what didn't work and how can we change it? So it's a more proactive approach. No more excuses. We just change it so it will work better this coming week. And then I do, because I have so many clients on the system, I do kind of every night I do look and see kind of who is doing what, when was the last control phone. I kind of have an idea where they are, but you don't have to. You can just look at it prior to, you know, your meeting with the client, and then I do send them messages if I see something coming, like, oh, watch out, your CP is dropping, or congratulate them when their CP is getting really high, and then I do some analysis before I meet with them, and we make adjustment as needed. So let me show you how that looks like. So now
my data, and there is a set of reports here that Adas will describe shortly, and also the notes here.
Yeah. Okay. So basically, what you see, the graph, that's the progress tab that they have in breathing logs. So your clients can see that too. And this is what I meant when I told you that some people really like to see correlations and analyze their data. So it's really interesting to look for correlations. For example, you may see that the more you practice reduced breathing, so that you see when I just stand on the dot, it shows me the date. So I see that on July 1st, he practiced more reduced breathing than usual. So I'm hoping to see that on July 2nd, if it's a perfect correlation, his morning CP went up, which it didn't. So of course there is never perfect correlation, but sometimes it's a nice way to show people, well, if you practice more, your CP goes higher, and if you don't practice at all, your CP drops. Another thing you can hold on. Another thing that is nice to see is that sometimes after in kind of good physical exercise with the breathing, then the next day hopefully the morning CP will go higher too. So June 29th, he did lots of physical exercise. So let's look at June 30 here. Yeah, morning CP was higher. So that's a nice thing to see. Or, you know, if you really want to analyze some, you know, if you work with athletes and you think they work beyond their respiratory capacity because they wouldn't slow down to breathe from their nose, you can show them. So if they practice 3 days a week, you can show them, okay, this day you did your CrossFit training, and then see the next morning your CP dropped to the, you know. So all the nice work that you do here is gone by the window because you breathe so heavily. Another thing that you hope for to see correlation, of course, is that the higher your morning CP, the decrease in symptoms, the less symptoms you have. So you can always show the.
Okay. One word about symptoms and the evaluation. So the number here, you see, it's like 80. So it's like it's a combination of the severity and the time.
Like for how long you had the symptom.
So like I had like 10 minutes, severity 8. So it's 80. And
yeah, so it's just kind of an arbitrary number.
If the next day I had another 10 minutes, but the severity was 6, then it's going to drop to 60. So it doesn't mean a lot, but it shows the trend. That's the point.
That the symptoms improve, yeah? Yeah. And for the evaluation?
For the evaluation, it's the sum of all the different
numbers.
Numbers,
yeah.
So if overall symptoms went down, you can see that over time they are in the right direction.
Yeah, so that's how you want the graph to look.
Yeah, and this is very important, especially for the parents, because it gives them the motivation to keep the child on track.
Yeah, and another correlation is that you can see is if someone sleeps 9 hours a night, maybe the next morning, this is why the next morning CP is low, or vice versa. So that's, again, it's all kind of by what Dr. Buteyko says. And that's kind of the recording of all the daily CP. So you see those are sets. You can see kind of 3 dots. So that's one set. And you can see a trend. I had a client coming saying that she's stuck. So over a week, you don't see much, especially here. So you can always change the filter here. So this is for the last 7 days. I can choose for the last 30 days and submit. And then you get a little different graph. And then it's better to show trends sometimes. Something, the weekly just looks random, but when you look over time, or even if you look, let's do it even more. Let's do, okay, yeah, Amit will be random, but a real client will look different. Like normally you do see a trend. What? Okay. So, but I did want to show them one more thing. Yeah. So let me show you the reports now. Oh, the notes. That's what I wanted. So you see, do you see there was a, hold on. When I clicked on that arrow here, you see? That was here, and then I just click on that. That's notes. So when you do the online session, the follow-up session, that's STOP notes. You can just write subjective. Client says that he had a great week. She had a lot less symptoms. She did not use her medication. Objective is what you see and what you did, the actual activities that you did. Assessment is you evaluate her and then plan for the next week. And you have one note for the entire day and submit, of course. Don't forget to submit because otherwise you lost all the information. And if you want to change something later that day, you can still do it, and it will change this current note. It's one day, it's one note per day. So yeah, this is an example. Okay, so that's how it looks. Submit.
And then
you just click and it disappears.
And then I can add something else later. So you have one note per day. So and it's basically for you can do the analysis at any point of time. You can write to the client cannot see it. It's only for you. And later on, you can use it during the online session with your client.
Okay, so that's basically what the clients also have, but these are your reports. So that makes it really easy to see what they're doing. So I went to the breathing activities report. So here you can see everything they're doing. So on top, no, it's everything. So it goes by date. So you can see that Amit does the Frolov for 30 minutes, and then he just did reduced breathing for 20 minutes. Yeah. Oh, that's actually what I just logged. Yeah. So adult set 1 he did, and this is July 2nd. So he did the morning set. He basically does 1 adult set per day and 1 morning set per day. And then he does, so you just get to see what they do. Even, for example, I had a client and she put all sort of things, follow and mini pauses and steps. And the one thing that was missing there was reduced breathing. And she got stuck, and I think, and that really helped her when I pointed it. She said, oh, I really don't do reduced breathing during the day, which I always recommend, whenever staying in the method is doing a lot of reduced breathing whenever you think about it. So I could see that she's never doing reduced breathing when I looked at all her activities. So you see, and this one I think you're used to read. That's kind of how it looks in the tracking sheet. I kept it this way so it's easy for your eyes to see it, like the pulse goes down at the end, and the control pause after reduced breathing is going up. So you look that it goes in the right direction. Morning set, you see that the morning CP is 9, pulse is 51, tape true, it means that they do tape, a number of hours. And then he did Frolov, he did another set, so that's a different day. You can see all the notes that they write, they put here. Especially you ask him to put them, if something unique happened, like when his first morning CP got really high, he explains why. 20 minutes reduced breathing during the movie, 20 minutes while he's commuting. So you really get the whole picture of what they do at home. And I think it's a lot more information than in the usual tracking sheets in the booklet.
Okay, once you are in, you know, if you go back, if you click on the icon here, you go to the main page with all your clients. But if you click on the link here, you stay within the current client. So just so you know.
Yeah. So if I go back, so then I have all sorts of reports. So symptoms again. I will just see everything that happened this week. Like he was coughing, the severity, how it went down, what did he do about it, medication, breathing exercises, notes. So you really get to see everything they do. I go back to his report. And so it's the same with everything. Physical exercise, what exactly he does. You get a whole list of activities, and you can print it. And I do want to show you the evaluation. So before I go here, actually, I want to talk about that for a second. We're almost done. Bear with me. Oh, no, where am I? Sorry. Yeah, no, I want the presentation, but I want to be in the current slide. So this is a typical follow-up session, and so I showed you all this. So if the morning CP is stuck, then this is when you can use the other evaluation that is in the evaluation tab. I'll show you that in a second. And you ask them to fill out that and kind of for a day and see what happens. I'll show you that. And then build a strategy what to do about that. So I will show you that in a second. And more what to do when they're stuck. So this is when I do ask them to fill out more information. So anything they do, even if it's only 5 minutes of reduced breathing or many mini pauses or steps or follow, put everything they do, exposure to triggers, because that helps me to analyze their leaks and find why are they stuck. And physical exercise, including CT before and after, so I get to see do they exercise correctly or they work too hard. And what they do about symptoms. If they still use nebulizer, then no wonder they're stuck. And again, looking for correlations at the graph. And morning steps, check if they're still taping, how many hours they sleep. So again, if they put all the information, you get tons of information, and you can really give them great support. Take me back to breathing plan. So let me go back to breathing plan. So this is, hold on, I need to show you in breathing log first. So that I go back to the client app and go to evaluations, new evaluation. And this is when I look at my breathing habits. So, and this one doesn't look good on the phone. You get lost there. So you have to do it on the computer, which is too bad. And so let's say you know that I'm just looking for one. Let's say you clear your throat a lot. So you are expected, so first you find which ones you're doing and in what situations. So I ask them to fill it out for a day or even for 3 hours, or people who sigh, for example. So let's say they caught themselves sigh 3 times while sitting, and then 10 times when they were anxious, and more when they were socializing. So that's how they feel it, and they have 0 to 100 actually, because people who sigh can really do it 100 times a day, or people who cough. So you have this list of hyperventilation behaviors and situations that they occur, and they fill that out. And then what I see in breathing plan is the report of that. So Amit was sighing while sitting. That's the top. That's his main leakage. He was sighing 14 times while sitting, and then he was breathing from his mouth while working 10 times during this period of time that he was checking. So you really get, and then you just pick the one that needs to be addressed and make a plan for the following week. All right, that's basically it, right? Okay, go back to I think we're done.
You saw the messages?
Yeah, and yeah, you see the message. No, you don't.
You?
Yeah.
The messages are here.
Yeah, and then you go there.
Same thing.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you saw everything, and I think the next step is for you to just start using. Even again, the only thing I do for myself is recording my morning CP, and that's it. And kind of just get used to use it, and then probably we'll offer another webinar for after people are using it for questions, or just you can always just contact us for questions, of course.
And one more comment. So we got some feedback from users that it's a good idea to teach the users to look at their data, because some people like to look at themselves and to learn by themselves. So they have the tools, they have everything in Breathing Log, and they can actually make the progress. You give them the tools and they can work individually. It's a good tool for the clients also.
Yeah. Okay. So I think we're kind of, yeah.
Does it depend on what browser you use when you're going, inputting data into your breathing log? Because I found I had problems on, I think it was Firefox.
It can be tricky. So if you have a problem, let me know. I'll try to address. Basically, it's supported by the main browsers, by like Safari and Chrome, Firefox, Internet Explorer. Maybe it's not supported so well on the old versions.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know if you have like Explorer version 6, maybe you will not see the graph so well.
Mm-hmm.
I know that on Android, there are many versions of Android on the cell phone. So if you have Android 4, it works very nice. If you have Android 2, it may not work. You may not see the graphs, for example.
Okay.
So
hold on, I read a question from Lisa. How do you know that they need repetition of course information? Because I talk to them every week, and then I get to see things that they didn't get, they didn't understand, because the conversation is still going, and I see that they do some mistakes, or they just you talk to them. Yeah, Lisa, hold on, you're muted. Yeah. Lisa, did I answer your question? Oh, hold on. Now you're unmuted.
I got the. I liked when you had them redo the evaluation. When they redo it, is it dated?
Yeah, you can. All evaluations. So. So you can see taken on.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
And then if you want to see what was there, you can just go and
to the kind of specific eval, you can go, yeah.
You have this view also.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool. Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah. So really, I agree with you that probably there is more information than you need. But imagine that if they put all this information, you really get to learn so much. But most people don't. But the more they put, the better.
And the other thing is that many educators have different ways to go. So especially for breathing, first of all, no, that's not what I meant. They don't have to do all the set. They can do just partial, or they can do individual. You can actually build individual plan if you want. You don't have to follow exactly. Like if they want to do just a half set, it's okay. Sometimes, so you can make adjustments, and you can tell them to go by individual activities if they wish, and you can basically build a very individual program because some people are really busy and they really have hard time to follow some. Yeah.
Okay, so we'll appreciate your feedback. I do want to let you go to sleep now.
I just have
But
one
feel
question,
free
Hadass.
to let us. What?
Hadass? It's
Yeah.
Kelly.
Mm-hmm.
So can you clarify that if they just want to do half a set, they would pick the activity set, adult set 1, and they would just fill out whatever they filled out. But then when they submit that, does it look like they've completed a full set? How do we know they've only completed half a set?
I'll show you.
Yeah, you can see it. Hold on.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, I always click on the wrong one. So I click on, I do the plus. Do control plus.
And let's say he does only 5 minutes reduced breathing, and that's it. And he stops the state in the middle.
And that's it.
And you record save.
Save. And now, if you go to
Breathing plan.
breathing plan,
You go to breathing activities to the report.
yeah, so you see this.
Oh, I see.
Just this, yeah.
So it's just, an empty. I get these a lot, especially with final pulses missing. And
I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's okay. I mean,
it's very flexible, so it makes it easy to use.
Very good. I got to go back on and use it for myself now.
Yeah, but really don't feel guilty for not using all the functions. It's very comprehensive.
Yeah, this was helpful because there were aspects that I wasn't using before, so it's good.
and here you have the manual. So if you don't remember how to do things, you just click. It's a PDF. You can read it.
Okay, good.
Okay, thank you very much for everyone's interest, and I hope
Thank
you try
you.
it.
Thank you. Good.
The recording, if you really want to see it again, the recording will be on my website probably. We'll come out with an email.
Thank you, Hadass. It was great.
All right, you're welcome. Thanks.
Thank you. Good night.
Really, good night.
Good night.